My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer. I came to Bright Falls with my wife, Alice. I told myself I could rest here, sleep here, and forget about my work. I thought we could be happy here.
Alan Wake, tell us about it.
Alan Wake at its heart is a psychological action thriller. So what we're really trying to do is push the envelope on a few areas in terms of storytelling and also in terms of how you fight with light and using that in cinematic action. So we're combining the mind of a psychological thriller with the body of a cinematic action game.
The story in a nutshell is that the main character, Alan Wake himself, he's a best-selling writer who has problems in his life. He has not been able to work for a couple of years, and he has problems with his marriage. And at the beginning of the game, the Wakes take a vacation and come to this idyllic small town of Bright Falls in Washington. And it's really their last chance to fix things, but things take a turn for the worse when Alice disappears and Wake starts to find pages from a thriller novel he seems to have written, but he can't remember writing it, and this thriller novel begins to come true.
The game's been in development for about 5 years now, and you've gone through a lot of phases in that time. What's been the part that you most hated to cut when it came to that?
As said, over 5 years, it's a long time. It has been a long journey for us and a big project. And there are kind of the high-level vision of the game has remained the same through all this time. Things like an everyman as a hero in an action game. And a writer for that, a small town setting, all American, idyllic and quirky small town. The use of light and darkness as themes in the story and in the core of the gameplay as mechanics. Those are the things that have kind of remained the same. And early on we were looking for different ways of how to use these elements as part of the game. So we were prototyping a lot of different mechanics, and some of them worked very well, and others turned out not to work that well, and we felt that they were not kind of part of the package that should be Alan Wake. Some of the prototypes we took quite far before we abandoned them. We were looking into ways of using free roaming open world elements, kind of sandbox elements in the game, but quite quickly we came to a realization that we want to do a good story-driven thriller, and that means that pacing is very, very important. And we were constantly kind of running into situations where we were making compromises with these different mechanics, and decided that story-driven games is what Remedy does and has done in the past, and decided that this is the way to go. Certainly there were some elements there as well that kind of ended up in the game almost through an accident. So things like the dark presence in the game is taking over everything in its path, the local people and animals, but objects as well. And at one point in the game we had a physics bug in the engine, and some of the objects would start shaking violently, and if you walked close to them, you die in the game. And we were looking at it and going like, no, that's really, really scary. We should really have this in the game, and that's how the poltergeist objects in the game were born. So it's kind of something always is left on the cutting room floor, but also through the prototyping and through the development process, some new things are kind of born that were not designed to be part of it on paper.
It's really about, focusing on what do you want to achieve. Like as Sam said, the high concept for us was pretty crystal clear from the early days on, but it's how do you realize that vision, and how do you follow through on that creative passion that you have. And I think we're very happy with where we ended up with Alan Wake on this long journey. I mean, clearly, you wish that you'd get there sooner, or you get there directly from point A to point B. But seldom do you do something if you're trying out new things, and if you're trying to build something that hasn't been done before. So it's not the same thing now with more lime, but you're actually trying to push the envelope slightly further. They're a calculated risk, and sometimes you need to find your own way, and you need to do those prototypes. Luckily, we were in a good position that we could really take the time and really make sure that Alan Wake lives up to the potential that it can be. Hopefully a defining thriller in games, and using light as a fighting with light and darkness, doing something new and novel in that area as well. As with any journey, I think sometimes the easiest road isn't the one to take, and I'm glad we've taken this one, and we're now in a happy position where we're able to share the game with you, and you guys are able to play hands-on and check it out for yourselves.
We are using TV series as a model for the pacing and the structure of the story, and we are looking at the game. Alan Wake is like the first season of TV series in a way. It's a complete package, and we feel very strongly that the story should reach an ending of a sort, and Alan Wake should come to a certain kind of a conclusion, and the player should be able to reach his goals. But at the same time, in the style of a TV series, we are opening doors to a larger story beyond this one. We have planned Alan Wake to be something bigger than just one game from the very, very beginning. There are story elements that are hinted towards, that are not the main thing in this first game, but we are kind of opening doors towards further stories here, and naturally, because this is story-driven, more will come. At least if the audience wants it, we would love to do more, and we are looking in the DLC, doing further story bits, which will logically go on from the first game, and hopefully build a bridge towards the sequels.
Even in the demo, there were a lot of references to other things from the horror genre and Twin Peaks and such. Do you have a homage made someplace, or tell us about the references?
Pop culture in general is very important for us as a design studio, and we very, very actively look into pop culture in general for sources of inspiration. I mean, naturally we are all fans of many different things, and kind of get a lot of enjoyment out of them. We're big fans of Lost. That's something that we have watched a lot. Things like that. Pop culture in general, as said, we get a lot of enjoyment out of, and hopefully at the end of the day we can contribute something back to that pool, and kind of make more pop culture.
You're on the Xbox 360 now, PC version, PS3 version. Any hope of either?
I mean, right now, I mean, there's been a fair bit of talk about this, but I mean, we're fully focused on the 360 right now, and we don't have plans for other platforms right now. But I think PlayStation 3, you can pretty much rule that out, as Microsoft is our partner, and we're really happy to be focusing on one platform. And right now, it allows us to just do this thing right.